And there she is. Woo!
So
We emailed you back, Christine G.
So Ron is not wearing a suit. He's not wearing pajamas. He's wearing a plaid suit.
No, it's their pajamas.
Just saying.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, it's after dinner. We have a very low bar here.
Okay.
I do.
I saw
Here
Alice.
too.
I saw Alice yesterday, and both of us were like, "Look, you dressed up."
Where were you?
We went for a visit to the
Why?
ministry of the covenant.
Yeah, scoping.
Okay, well, let's get started, and whoever joins us, that's okay, where it is. No, I think it's okay.
You sure?
Yeah, and I'm sorry that we're using Christine's iPad because I need to be able to move it around to show you what we're doing in a little bit. So it's a little slow and jerky, but
Not me.
not Christine, just her iPad.
Really?
So here we go. Hi, Jennifer, welcome.
Gang's all here now.
Okay, we are all here. Okay, great.
Sometimes
Tonight,
it's
we're
really
going to
clear.
focus on potting up or maybe even thinning some of our seedlings that we planted 4 or 5 weeks ago as we prepare them for their next stage of life, that is being transplanted eventually into the garden, either the Plot Against Hunger garden or maybe your own garden. And assisting me as before is my able and capable partner, Christine. She will probably be doing a lot of camera work, I think, later on today or tonight. First, just a couple of announcements, updates. There are some more seed packets at the church if you want some for your own use. We're okay for the Plot Against Hunger garden now with what you all have and what's at the church. But I've got access to more seeds there, especially those that can be planted outside right now. There are some snow peas, some regular shelling peas, more Swiss chard, radishes, carrots, turnips, lettuce, and beets. And there are also some seeds there that probably won't be planted until April, so no big hurry on them, but that's your tomatoes and peppers, okra, some pole beans, squash, and some cucumbers. So help yourself to those packets. They're in the sanctuary. If there's more than you need, take out and sow what you have and take the packet back, and maybe someone else can use it. There's not a whole lot of each one, but there's at least one. So help yourselves. And also next, thanks to everyone who's been coming to the Tuesday and Saturday work sessions. So helpful, and I'll share with you in a minute how helpful. But I'm getting a really unbelievable response, and 5 people show up yesterday, Tuesday evening. In fact, we ran out of projects. We had so much capable help. So I'll have to start planning more projects, I think. Thank you all very much. As far as what everybody has done, we currently have 11 different varieties planted outside. Hi there. Oh, is that Simon? He's giggling. Yeah, okay. We have 11 seedlings outside. Only one, the lettuce, some of the lettuce is coming up, but the rest of them are in their little beds. And we have 8 different varieties started inside the church, as well as what you all have in your homes. So very good progress. Okay, so tonight we're going to demonstrate potting up and maybe a little bit of thinning technique as well as we prepare our seedlings for, as I said, their eventual home. So jump in anytime, ask questions. You can, stay, have your microphones live or muted, however you want to do it. Just jump right in. I have 2 examples. So Miss videographer, I'm going to have you move the camera here so you can see my 2 examples. Okay. There, I have some cabbage here in this container that is ready to be potted up. And then I have a small cup of Swiss chard that we actually planted the night of our tutorial, which is now almost 6 weeks ago. The cabbage was planted about 5 weeks ago. So but they are both are ready to begin the next journey, so to speak. remember we said we were looking for plants that are in their 2 to 3 leaf stage. The very first leaf that shows up is not a true leaf, so we don't really count it, but we're looking at, if I can get to the cabbage here.
Can they see?
Yeah, now they can, yeah. You can see that I have 4, well, actually this is starting its 3rd set even of leaves. So it's ready to be up potted, I mean. The Swiss chard, again, I'll try to get it here so you can see it also has about 3 sets of leaves already. This tallest one does. So it's ready to be potted up. So check your own seedlings. Those that have reached 2 to 3 leaves or sets of leaves, those are the ones that are ready to be potted up. Mostly now it's the cool season plants, the warm season plants. If you've started any of those, tomatoes, peppers, etc., they're not ready yet. So we're going to focus on the cool season plants. As you can see, this cabbages were planted in an old strawberry, looks like a strawberry, I think here. No, actually a Campari tomato container with a coffee filter in the bottom to kind of hold the dirt in, and we're going to have to kind of scoop them out to get it going. The chard was put in just a small plastic cup, so we'll probably just cut the sides away and let it fall down onto this tray. As you can see, I've got newspaper spread here on the table, and I have this cookie sheet or some sort of tray to collect any dirt that falls as we begin to pot them up. So I highly suggest that, or you'll be cleaning up dirt for a while. Okay. Now, what are the reasons why we're actually potting these up? Why can't we just leave them in these containers and let them, do their thing? Well, they need more room. The plants are going to start crisscrossing and getting all tangled up with each other and getting lanky. So if we give them a little less competition, they'll grow straighter. If we give them a little more soil with a bigger container, their roots will be able to spread out. And of course, they'll get more light because they're not competing with other people to get their thing. Okay, back to the plants here.
Mark, can I ask
what do we use to pot them up with? Yes,
Sorry.
go.
Can I just ask a quick question? Is there a reason why you pot them up rather than planting them outside, since those are cold weather plants and they could be planted outside?
Yeah, it's a little tricky. They're not quite ready yet, so we're going to pot them up, and it'll probably be at least another 2 weeks. I want them to get more root structure. When you see me tear these apart, you'll realize, oh, there's not many roots there. And if I stuck those into the ground, they're really going to sit there for a while as they try to develop more roots. Whereas if we give them a nice environment here for a few more weeks, we're going to get a nice little root mass. Actually, when we do plant these, you'll be able to see a nice mass of roots so that they'll jump out of the, take off when we get them in the ground. Does that help? Okay.
They've also, hey,
So
Mark,
we've got some options. Yes.
they've also been inside
Closed
the
out.
whole time, and they haven't been out at all, and they haven't been hardened off. So that's another issue
Right.
with, even though they're cold weather plants, they're not ready yet.
Yeah, they're tender, as they say yet. So we'll get to that once we get them in some pots here. We'll talk about hardening off. Okay, so what are we going to put them in? We got some choices. The easiest thing, particularly for like something of the chard, which is not going to be that big a plant, is I've just used last year's 6 plastic 6-cell little containers that I probably got some other plant or vegetable in. I'm recycling it. I'm using it again. They're different sizes. I like a little bit deeper one. This is at least 2 inches, maybe almost 2.5 inches deep. I've put some soil in it already, and I'll show you how much. I can also use just for my bigger ones, I can use a little 3-inch pot. Again, I'm recycling it from something I bought last year. And you have these around their house, some of these, or they can be even 4-inch, but 3-inch works pretty nice. But see, it's a pretty deep one. So I'm going to get a lot of root mass growing in there. And then the third thing is, these are kind of nifty. These are made by Jiffy. Can you hold down a little bit? These are peat pots, and they're in their own little plastic container here that'll keep the water in. And I'll probably use these tonight for the cabbage, because this way I can pull this peat pot out when I'm ready, and I actually will plant the whole pot. I'll just tear the bottom off and we'll plant the whole pot. So it's a nice, easy way to get them into the ground. And it's a little bit bigger than these little cells. So let's get our hands dirty. So I'm gonna tackle the Swiss chard first. And I've got my little 6-cell container here that I put, not quite an inch of dirt in the bottom, a good hefty tablespoon. So the plant's got something to sit on. And I tried to, sometimes you can turn this upside down and tap it on the bottom and they all come nice falling out. I tried that a while ago and it didn't work. So I'm going to cut down the sides of this and let them kind of spill out here. Make about 2 or 3 cuts so it'll kind of fall away. Be careful not to get near the plant. Yeah. Okay. And here it comes out as a nice little ball there.
Nice.
So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to get my hands dirty. I have to kind of take these apart to find the individual plants and their roots that they have. So I'm just kind of gently, because they're kind of intertwined, pulling them apart. Actually, there's more here than I thought. I'm going to start with these 2 big guys here. Can you see me at all? I hope. They almost look like the roots are kind of intertwined. So I'm not sure I can get them apart. Let's see. Because I want to try to get some dirt with each root wad. And here they come. Okay.
Yeah, we can see.
Here's my pop. Here's my little plant. Okay, now I'm just gonna drop it in the little 6-cell here. I'm gonna try to hold the plant with one hand. So you can see it's there, but I went all the way to the bottom. Then I'm gonna get some pre-moistened potting soil. And I'm just gonna kind of gently shovel it in there. Another 2 tablespoons, almost all the way to the top. So I'm covering up, good 2/3 of the plant. Now I'm just going to kind of tamp it down to about where that last leaf is. And that leaves me some room, then I can water it later on. So any questions on that? I'm going to do one more.
Oh, your screen went away.
And here's another one. I put it in.
Your video, we lost your video.
I lost your video.
There you go.
Okay.
So Mark, you're
All right,
actually,
I got it back.
some of the part of the plant you're putting under the soil, correct?
That's correct. I'm bearing good half of it, Mart.
Got it.
And when we do this with tomatoes, I'll probably bury about 3/4 of it. So here, actually, I've only got 3 leaves showing, but that's okay.
But are you burying leaves, Mark?
I'm trying not to, Ron.
Right.
I may
Okay,
have buried
good.
one on this last one. On this
No,
other
I
one,
just
though, I
wanted to
see I have
clarify.
5 leaves showing. So can you? And then I'll go ahead and fill this out after we're done with the session. But I'm going to shift to the cabbage next. So you got to get your hands dirty, and you got to kind of just root in there and pull these apart because they're intertwined. Now, I didn't know how these seeds, how many of them germinate, so I probably planted too many. When I did the cabbage, which you'll see in a minute, I planted them the seeds a little farther apart, and they'll be a little easier to separate. Okay, so let me move to that. I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to put it over here in my tray. And I'm going to kind of protect the ones here I dug out. And now I have, if you turn it down, I have my little tomato plastic container here. And I started loosening it up. I just put this big spoon underneath it. As you can see, the whole thing just comes right out. And I set it on my tray because I'm going to get dirt everywhere. And then I kind of, reach here. Here's a plant by itself. And I just kind of reach over here. Look, I got a nice wad of dirt and the little cabbage. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in one of these peat containers. Then I'm going to get some soil here. I'll straighten it up a little bit so it's nice and straight. So I'll hold it with one hand. See, this one has 2, 4, almost 6 leaves now. There's there. I'll get another one. All right. There. Now I'll kind of tap it down a little bit. Gets the air holes out, plus it straightens the plant. And there I have one in my container. Now I'm going to do a second one. Here's one that's growing, starting to grow a little crooked, but we'll straighten it out. Put it in. And I'll get some more potting soil. Hold the plant with one hand. Put some soil around the base of it. And do that one more time. I think I'm getting some dirt onto the dining room table here, but that's all right. Okay, again, I tamp it down with my fingers. And if it's not quite straight, maybe I'll give it a little nudge on one side or the other. And there I have my second one. So any questions on that? I'll do the rest of these afterwards, but I just wanted to show you some demonstrations here. So let me see where I am. Get my notes here.
Can we see you there?
See me, yeah. Okay, we've done the soil, so I'll repeat. Okay, take your time doing this, and there's no big hurry. I spread it over a couple of sessions if you want. You can do this, at your leisure. Now these plants, okay, after I've got them potted up, I put them in a tray so I can, water them. These little peat pots, if you recall, had their own tray, so I'm going to have to water them from the top. So I have to be very careful because I can't get to the bottom of these, but it won't leak out. These other ones I'm going to put into a tray here, big long plastic tray, but you can use a cookie sheet. You can use these plastic containers that lettuce comes in that are pretty good size, anything that'll hold some of these larger pots, and then you water from the bottom. It'll soak right up into the pot because there's holes in it. Now, when you first do this, maybe tomorrow, I mean, they look really healthy now. Tomorrow they may droop a little bit. It's called transplant shock. I just lifted it up. I disturbed it. I may have bruised it a little bit, so it's going to go into shock. But give it a day or two and it'll be fine. Just make sure it gets light, keep it moist, and it'll come, perking right back up in a couple of days. Now then, as the days have gotten warmer, and as Sally said, the other reason, of course, we're putting them in the larger pots is that we want to eventually set them outside for a few hours every day. So they get accustomed to direct light, most importantly, but also the outdoor temperatures, which, as you know, vary during the day. So we'll start out with about 2 hours a day. So pick a sunny spot outside on your deck, on the sidewalk, anywhere where it gets sun. Let them go about 2 hours the first day, and then gradually increase that over, say, a week's time period till you can get up to 6 hours a day. Now, this is all weather dependent. If there's going to be a rainstorm like Alice unfortunately had the experience with today, or a possibility even of a frost, we don't want to put them out those days. So this hardens them off, gets them ready then to be actually transplanted into our garden in 2 or 3 weeks. These cool season plants will be going into the ground in a couple of weeks. I want to get a little bit more growth, a little more roots on them. But when you think you're ready, after you've up potted them or thinned them, let me know, and we'll figure out a time to get together and schedule a day when we can plant your transplants. And we'll try to shoot for one of those Tuesday or Saturdays when we have lots of volunteers to help us do that. So another technique that you could also use, and I'm going to ask Sally maybe to show us an example of this. If you planted your seedlings to begin with in a fairly tall or tallish plant container, so it has room for its roots to develop, you may not have to transplant it. You can maybe leave it in there, but you may have planted 3 or 4 seeds and you only need 1 or 2. So you're going to try to thin them. And Sally and I worked on a little technique a week or so ago, so I'll let her explain what we did.
Well,
Sally?
we met Tuesday, hi. We met on Saturday, and after we worked outside for a while, Mark and I went inside, and I had brought my Swiss chard plants. I had 4 pots of Swiss chard. They were in tall, but only like 2-inch pots, 2-inch pots around, but like 3-inch tall pots, which gives roots a little more time to develop. The Swiss chard seeds, I think, are what are they called? Compound seeds. So there's more than one seed in the little lump of a seed that we have. So I had many seedlings from a couple of seeds. I had only 3 in each pot, but I had maybe 6 seedlings that came up, and we need to thin them out. And I was ready to thin to 1. Mark said, let's leave 2. And I think we were smart to do that. So what we did was to go in and use the technique that I have used in the past, and it requires scissors. And what you do is to look at the seedlings. It's hard to make a choice sometimes. Who is your favorite? But sometimes you just have to make a choice. So it's pretty clear who the first couple are to go. And if you could leave 2, as we did, it was nice that I didn't have to make that final decision. But we snipped off, put the scissors right in there, and be very careful, snip off at ground level. And there you have it. Now I'm going to turn my camera around so you can see the result of, there are 2 in each of these pots, and you'll see what they are. They're a little floppy, and they've been outside, not today, but the other couple of days since Saturday, to kind of start getting used to the real world. So let me show you the picture. And here they are from the top. You can see, here's 1 seedling and 2 in this pot, and 2 in this one. And you can move them by the leaves if you have to move them around, but not by the stem, because the stems are really delicate. 2 here, and they all look pretty hardy, but a little like they're kind of worn out from all of the effort that they've put into all this. So they're working hard to get well and get strong, and I have no doubt that they will do that. Okay? Back to you, Mark.
Good. Very good, Sally. Very good. Excellent. Excellent. And we may end up, even though there are 2 in those pots, we may end up planting both of them together, because sometimes there's enough. We don't crowd them too much. We can maybe stick, 2 right next to each other, and they'll be okay. But we'll see. Well, that's a decision to be made later.
It's nice to have a friend.
You're right.
Especially during the pandemic.
There you go.
Okay, Jennifer, I know you have already started some potting up or thinning. Is there something you want to share with us or show us?
Yeah, but mine are so tiny. I'm worried.
They're fine. I
They'll be
saw a picture of them. They look good.
Can you see him?
Yes.
That little
They're
person.
so cute. So cute.
It has 2 of that. This is kale. You can see it has 2 little ones in the middle. So those are the kale leaves. But I don't have enough light where I am. And so they were probably 3 inches tall. So I had to get them underground, I felt like. So here's another one.
Good idea. Yeah, you can start putting those outside a few hours a day, and you'd be surprised how quickly they will grow and develop.
Yeah, I've lost a couple. I don't know. It might have been.
Don't take it personally.
I'm sorry?
Don't
That
take it
happens.
personally.
Yeah.
That happens.
So
That's
I
why we
have a
plant
whole
extra.
array of them, but those were the 2 best looking ones so far.
Good choices. Okay, anyone else want to share something that they might have to show or have a question about? Well, then to recap again, once your seedlings have reached that 2-3 leaf stage, then it's time to either to thin them if they're in a large enough pot to begin with, or to pot them up into something larger where they can really stretch their wings and begin the growth and on the roots and especially, as well as Does somebody have a question?
Do you have a question? You wanted to ask Mr. Mark a question.
We're having pizza for dinner, Mr. Milk.
Dinner, pizza.
You had pizza for dinner? I don't think I heard that right.
That's what I heard.
Well, that's great, Rose. I am so happy, that you're here.
Pizza, pizza or peas, I wasn't sure which.
I'm betting on.
Ah, yes, maybe it's peas. I got it. Yeah.
Green peas, yay.
Yay. Okay. So
I'm
again,
gonna bet on
when
pizza.
when they reach that size, we want to get them ready. We want to pot them up. We want to, of course, separate them as I did here messily, and then put them into these larger pots. Then get them watered and start getting them out into the sun to begin hardening them off. And then when you think they're ready, contact me and we'll either send me a photo or we'll Zoom each other and we'll kind of take a look at them and see if they're ready or not to go into the ground, or maybe they just need a little bit more time outside if the weather's nice. Remember, our frost-free date here in northern Arkansas is April 10th. So we're still.
Yeah, but we're in Arlington.
I'm Northern Virginia. What did I say?
Arkansas.
Sorry. Northern Virginia is April 10th. So we still have a ways to go, but these are cool season plants. They like growing in the cooler weather. So don't be afraid to set them outside, even if it's, 50 degrees or 40 to 45 degrees. I wouldn't go below that for a few hours each day, and then bring them in at night and then back out in the morning if you can, or every other day if you can't do it each day.
I have a quick question, Mark. Can I ask a quick question? Because I'm trying to envision what I would transplant my plants into, and
Sure.
would the solo cups, like the really big ones? If you poked holes in the bottom of those, are those big enough, or that's not deep enough?
No, they're plenty big. Those would work fine.
Okay.
And I have, I think, some more of these 6-seed, 6-cell things, the different sizes at the church. If you need something else, let me know and I'll try to set something out for you maybe. I even have a few of these, larger pots. I'm trying to save these back for when we pot up the tomatoes and the peppers because we want to really bury them deeply and get them standing up straight. But yes, solo cups, the larger solo cups will work. Punch a hole in the bottom. Anyone else? Can I get back to the full group here?
I think Alice has to do
No, I think you can. There, okay. Wow, you're a quiet group tonight.
I stopped talking.
We're mesmerized.
Does somebody have a good gardening pun?
All I know is what I used to do
No,
with when I grew
today-
tomatoes. I think I shared that with you already, though.
Share
When
What's
I grew
that?
tomatoes,
Tell us again.
I would until they were about 5 feet tall, maybe even a little taller, I would pinch off every bloom. And then once they were 5 feet tall and in a cage, then I just let them go. And then you had tomatoes for days for everybody. It's like tomatoes for the world. But that's what I did.
We may have to consider that technique in July.
Yes. Anytime it blooms before then,
Okay.
just
Any other questions?
We just wanted to show you our drowned Swiss chart and maybe get some advice on what to do.
Okay, let's see that thing. Oh, well, just let it dry. You kind of tilt it to get as much water out as you can. And then just let it dry out in the sun. And let's see what happens, Alice.
You never know.
Don't worry about it.
Alice,
We
Maybe,
have plenty of
maybe it'll
seeds.
be an Easter miracle.
Yes.
Alice,
there we
you
go.
can use a paper towel if you want to get some of the extra water out to sort of wick some of the water away from the soil. Does that make sense? Maybe not.
I think she's trying to get the water out. Oh, it's pouring out. I see it.
Oh,
Oh,
my.
my.
Oh,
Lot of
okay.
water.
I think you're set.
Wow.
Well, just try to drain as much as you can. You may have to hold your hand over it so they don't fall out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's next.
Okay, and then after you got as much out as you can, just put them in a dry place in the sun, hopefully. You could actually set them outside if you wanted to tomorrow. It's supposed to be warm and the next day, as long as it's not going to rain again. That might help dry them out more quickly. Okay, anything else? Because that's what I have. I'm going to then, when I finish here, I'm going to finish potting up my cabbage and the chard. Ron and James, they have an announcement to make because they, last night, planted the very first live transplants. So you two want to talk about what you planted?
You did it.
Yeah.
Cabbage.
Cabbage. Yeah, having a little brain fog.
Yes.
Okay, cabbage.
From Ayers.
Right. I did a number of things. But there was a little dirt and wait.
You planted them.
Okay. Right. This was the outdoor part.
Yes.
Where we're outside.
Yes, this is the first.
Okay, good.
The first live plants into the ground.
Have
Right.
more wine, Ron.
I haven't had any. I used the trowel and I dug a good hole and then I stuck the plant in and then which had a little dirt on the bottom, and then we covered it.
Jennifer has a picture there, Ron. Jennifer's got a picture
There it is.
Yep.
of
There it is.
you planted
Thank you,
six Savoy cabbage.
Right.
right.
That's it.
Great.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Oh, and there's
I'll be
Ron.
sending
Here I
those to
am.
you tomorrow, Blair, for the e-blast. All right, you all. Anything else for tonight?
No, this is great. Mark, as always, this
I'm
was
so happy that
interesting
you
and
all are
good.
participating. Yeah, I mean, this is wonderful, the what you all are doing, and we're gonna have a magnificent garden pretty soon now.
I appreciate you making it so accessible and so
Yeah.
encouraging.
Yes.
Definitely.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you have like
I
full
really
grown plants and mine are like two little itty bitty pipsqueaks.
Mine are even smaller than yours, Jennifer, so don't worry.
You got plenty of time. You got plenty of time.
But I want to
Christine
say
Schnarr?
thank you because you have all made him so happy.
Aw.
He's so happy to have you as a team this year. So it makes my life even happier that he's so happy about the garden. So thank you all. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All
Thanks,
right, we
Mark.
will probably reconvene in 2 or 3 more weeks again, maybe when the tomatoes get large enough that we need to pot them up, but it'll be at least 2 or 3 weeks, so there's no hurry. And by that time, I think these first transplants will probably be ready to go into the ground. So there'll be lots of action in the next month.
Okay. Oh, one last thing.
And Rose, are you there, Rose? Your teacher, Rose, your teacher, Miss Ann, asked me for Friday morning to have you all join me in planting some more potatoes in a bucket. Can you help us do that, Rose?
Rose, can you help plant potatoes in a bucket?
She's thinking
on
about it.
Friday? Yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to tell Mr. Mark what you just
Good.
Mark?
Potatoes in a bucket.
She said, Mr. Mark, I can help plant potatoes in the bucket, but she said some other cute things about you too.
Oh, good. Well, we may also plant some more onions too, Rose. I know you know how to do that. You and Miss Jennifer planted the onions, so we'll plant some more on Friday morning.
Rose is a great assistant.
And
Yes.
one more announcement.
All right,
We
well,
need to ask, one more announcement. We need to ask Jeanette to give pre-congratulations to Lexi and John, right? For winter, because tomorrow is a big day for them.
yeah.
Yay!
So,
Congratulations.
Oh, there they are. Yay! Hello.
Thank you.
They're being
Congratulations.
married. They're being
wow.
married tomorrow.
Yay, that's great.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you, Ron.
Of course.
And we
of course.
also have we also owe Lexi a big
Jennifer,
thank you. She
They're
donated
getting
to the
married.
church some purple potatoes for us to
Or they are
plant.
married, kind of.
Yeah, those purple potatoes.
Mm.
Yes. So thank you.
All right.
All right. Anybody else for the good of the cause? Then I will say adieu.
Good
Bye.
night.
I really
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Mark.
Ciao. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark. You did a
Bye.
Great job.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
Rose. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.